let them get started.
I want to move to the front of the table. I don't like the barrier. For all of you that don't know, I'm Gary Moore, Mayor for the City of Kewanee, and thank you for inviting us to speak here tonight. Great, make sure I'm not standing in front of them. We were asked to talk about the Commission on Human Relations, and that is something that I feel very, very strongly about. Back in May of 2020, when the George Floyd incident was coming about, and the Black Lives Matter movement was hot and heavy at that time, and they had a local committee that decided to have a peaceful march here in Kewanee. And I had no issues with that peaceful march at all. I'm not gonna lie, I had some concerns because other communities, here and there scattered out, it ended up turning violent. I trusted that our committee was, going to keep things under control, and they did that very well. I was asked to be one of their guest speakers during that event, and it got me thinking, what happens now? So we have this movement. Tomorrow, is anybody even going to remember? And that was a very strong concern of mine, because I've seen this in other areas where, at the time, people are very passionate about it, and they want that movement started, and then once the event happens, it just tails off and dies. So I started looking and researching the Commission on Human Relations, and as it turned out, Kewanee already had a Commission on Human Relations on the books. It disbanded back in the 1970s, approximately 50 years ago. It just, interest was dropped, and so it just disappeared, went away. And so I sat down with Gary Bradley, our city manager, and I told him, this is what I'm going to do. I said, I'm going to reinstate that commission. And so I started talking to different people that I thought would be good prospective members. And I explained to them that my idea was, I don't want this to be based on the Black Lives Matters movement, because, to be cliche, all lives matter. It doesn't matter if it's black, white, Hispanic, Asian. It doesn't matter. Everybody should have a voice. Everybody should have that opportunity. And so I looked for people that I thought were very open-minded, that I tried to find a group of people that were very diverse, all ethnicities, male, female, bisexual, homosexual, what have you. I tried to find a very diverse group of open-minded people that could look at issues within the city of Kewanee and bring them to the forefront and try to work out resolutions. Because I'm a firm believer that a lot of times when you have hatred, it comes from not understanding. And I'm not saying that every person in Kewanee has to believe in every single movement or every ethnicity, but if they took the time to understand and developed an understanding of what the background is of the different populations within the community, maybe they'd be a little more tolerant. And I think tolerance is something that is extremely important for everybody. We all need to be tolerant. And that tolerance, is built by understanding. And so that's why I wanted to put this committee together to help kind of portray, my vision. And thank God a lot of the people that I picked, they had their own visions and they brought them to the forefront as well. And my city clerk, Casey Mitchell, I got her involved. And I'll tell you what, for anybody that doesn't know Casey Mitchell, she has been a godsend for the city of Kewanee. She is phenomenal. I don't have enough good to say about Casey Mitchell. That's, if I don't ever accomplish anything else as mayor of Kewanee, that's the best thing I ever do, is appointing her as our city clerk. She's phenomenal. So, but anyway, so now, that I've had, the commission's been, what, 3 or 4 years now we've had this commission. Of course, when we started, it was right in the midst of COVID. And so things kind of got pushed to the backside for a little bit because, quite frankly, at the city level, we were pretty swamped. We just everything going on with COVID. We just didn't have a lot of time to devote to other things. So, the commission kind of got put on the back burner. But as things COVID-wise started to die down a little bit, then we moved forward with the appointing commission members and getting everything rolling there. And we have some really phenomenal members. Unfortunately, they stay very, very busy, and they don't always get a lot of the help that they need. And so they're getting burned out. And we've had some turnover there. And we have a good core nucleus of people that really step up for Kewanee. And again, as I had with Casey, I don't have enough good to say about our nucleus of our members here. Right now, we're down about 6 members. We're down 6 members. So we're always looking to appoint new members. So if any of you can think of somebody that would fit that bill, somebody that is aggressive, willing to step forward, help out with different events that they have. They've hosted numerous events throughout the year, but it's the same people doing it over and over again. And so, they could really use some help. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to the beautiful young ladies here. So thank you again for having us.
But I want to do an announcement first. A few people didn't hear this earlier. The radio station is recording this presentation, but it's not going out live. She's recording it, so at a later time, they'll be able to see it on the website. The YouTube website. Yep. Okay. I thought you should know.
Thank you, Gary, for the nice words. Okay, I'm Lovondi. I wanted to share a positive, personal, true story. And I want to let you know that my son gave me permission to share this story today. One day, my teenage son called me. I could hear it in his voice that something was wrong. He told me that a police officer pulled him over. He put me on speakerphone, and while he was talking to the officer, I could clearly hear their conversation. The officer followed the standard protocol and asked him for a driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance. The officer took the documents back to his car. At this time, I was still on speakerphone, but I didn't hear them talking. What I didn't know at the time was my son got out of his car to give the officer more documents. When I was able to hear their conversation, the officer, in a stern but professional way, explained to him what to do and expect when pulled over by law enforcement. He was informative and understanding on how he approached the situation. Sorry. But for me, as his mother, I might have been a little bit direct with my words when I finally talked to my son. This situation gave me something to think about. How young minds don't always know how to conduct themselves when dealing with law enforcement. I wasn't able to thank that officer in person. I'm grateful for his patience and understanding. In a world when you hear negative interactions with law enforcement and young men of color, I am thankful for that officer who approached my son that day. The positive impact of that officer's actions made me feel like my son was valued and safe. This subject was addressed in our meeting to educate students on properly handling police encounters. And now that I have personally went through this, I feel certain that this education should be shared. Thank you. I'll hand it over to Daniela.
I'm Daniela Garcia Lozano. The reason why I joined the commission is because being a Mexican woman, born and raised here in Kewanee, there's absolutely nothing for us Latinas to do or even know of our culture as we were growing up. The little bit of information that we did receive came from our parents, and that's not a whole lot when, you know, your parents are, you know, came at a young age, and so, you know, the only stuff that we could learn was what was handed down to us from our parents, or even when we had the chance to speak to our grandparents. So my mission was to join the commission to help other children, just like myself, you know, learn about their culture, you know, gain some experience. It's rewarding because now I get to see my my nieces and nephews enjoy everything that I've, you know, accomplished with the commission. So it's pretty rewarding.
Kewanee Commission on Human Relations, uniting Kewanee one step at a time. We aim to connect our community, every race, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, gender, disability, and economic background, to unite as one Kewanee to build a better future. We are creating a safe space for self-expression by celebrating and acknowledging cultural differences and marginalized identities by hosting diverse events. We are building connections with students to educate them on bias and discrimination and how we build a future for our community. We help those who have felt voiceless find their voice.
All right, well, I'm going to translate that into Spanish in case we have some Spanish speakers that watch this presentation. Nuestro objetivo es conectar a nuestra comunidad, sea por todas las razas, etnias, religiones, orientaciones sexuales, géneros, discapacidades y orígenes económicos, para unirnos como un Kewanee y construir un futuro mejor. Estamos creando espacios salvos para la autoexpresión y reconociendo las diferentes culturas y las identidades marginadas organizando diversos eventos. Estamos construyendo conexiones con los estudiantes para educarlos sobre los prejuicios y la discriminación y cómo construir un futuro para nuestra comunidad. Ayudamos a aquellos que se han sentido sin voz encontrar su voz. Gracias por apoyar nuestra comisión.
Now we're going to the events and partnerships. Black History Extravaganza, Etta LaFlora and the Black History Committee host their event at First Congregational Church. Our commissioner sponsors the essay contest. Students grades 4 through 6 and grades 7 and 8, Kewanee, Weathersfield, and Visitation District. For winners, first and second place are invited to the program. They will read their essay to the audience and receive their prize. It is our second year sponsoring that contest. Guns and Hoses Bags Tournament, a fundraiser hosted by Kewanee Police Department and Kewanee firefighters, partnered up with our commission to raise money for school supplies for children in our local schools. For Bakersville, the last 2 years, commissioners decorated a spot in the park. Juneteenth, tomorrow's Juneteenth, and Emancipation Day is a federal holiday commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. On June 19th, 2025, Etta LaFlora and myself will do a segment with Jennifer Russell from Regional Media News about the Juneteenth holiday. You are welcome to join and listen why this day is so special and why we celebrate it all over the country. It will play at 8:15 Thursday morning. Hog Days Parade. The first year, commissioners walked the parade with our Kewanee Commission on Human Relations banner. The second year, we had a float with a large paper mache heart hands sculpture symbolizing love and support for one another. Third year, we had a float promoting peace, love, and equality. For 2025, commissioners are stepping back from the parade this year, but you will see commissioners working the pork chop stand for the Hog Days Festival. Trivia night, our first fundraiser going towards hosting future events. There were raffle items and silent auction held at Kewanee Elks Lodge. And for the Enchanted Pumpkin Fest, commissioners decorated for the trunk or treat and handed out candy. Our first year, we did Care Bear theme. The second year, we had a construction site set up. And the third year, butterfly garden.
One of our main events that we do host is the Kewanee LGBT Pride Fest. It was started in 2023 by Tori and Bond, who was our original, one of our original commissioners. And it grew to where we wanted to do another year. So we did the 2024. So far we've done 2 years. 2025 will be a break. We will take a break, but we will be back in 2026. We used Northeast Park for the daytime show and the Chrome Gypsy compound for the after party and the nightlife. We had drag performers, musical numbers, Dot the Storyteller, food and non-food vendors. The Kewanee Hispanic Heritage Celebration. This will be our third year. It started, we started it in 2022, and it is held during the Hispanic Heritage Month. Our aim was, or is, to celebrate the 22 countries that gained their independence in September and to bring awareness to Kewanee on the diverse Hispanic cultures in Kewanee and around the world. We had various food vendors, non-food vendors, Mexican music, and cultural Mexican performers. Last year was the first year we had little vendors, which the children could sell their hobbies, crafts. So it was a pretty nice time for them. We had quite a few of them. Hopefully they come back this year. This year, our event will be held September 27th from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the American Legion. We also, starting this school year, 2025 to 2026, we will start scholarships for 2 Hispanic or Latino kids. Our other event that we helped with was National Night Out. That is a chance where the law enforcement and the community can come together. It's a free event. We participated the last 2 years, and it's held in August. Our newest event is Cinco de Mayo. This was the first year. It was an event for the whole family, but geared towards children. They had many food vendors and non-food vendors, a DJ, and the event was held in May to commemorate the Battle of Puebla, where Mexico defeated a far advanced French army. The City of Kewanee Safe Routes. The commission wrote a letter on behalf of the city for a grant in hopes to be awarded funds to make safe sidewalks for children to walk to school. Thankfully, the city was awarded that grant. The route is on Lake Street. With the rising costs, the route is currently to Regan Townhomes. We have done some fundings. We have some funds. The city has allocated minimal funds from their budget for the commission. We have hosted a trivia night to help raise some money. Because Pride Hispanic Heritage Celebration and Cinco de Mayo are free events to the community, we ask for sponsorship from area businesses or individuals who would like to help.
I'm sorry, when did you say the Hispanic event was going to be September what?
September 27th, 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the American Legion.
And last Saturday of September going forward.
It's always a good time. It is a blast.
Yes.
If you're interested in learning more about the commission and what we do, you can join us at our meeting. It's the second Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. at City Hall. There may be times that we do change it, but that will be announced if we do.
And all meetings are open to the public if anybody wants to attend.
Okay, I am happy to announce the Kewanee Commission on Human Relations team. Let's see, we have Etta LaFlora, Rob Hensley, Rob Hensley, Daniela Lozano, August Wolf, Jessica Fornander,
Adriana
Adriana,
Leanderos.
and myself, Lovondi Jordan.
And then we have our city liaison, our city clerk, Casey Mitchell.
Thank you for supporting our commission.
Have our own little committee that helps us, and they're members from the community, which we are always still looking for, you know, sponsors or even volunteers for every single one of our events.
Hi, thank you
Thank you.
for being up there, by the way, and answering our questions. Mine is, why the break this year for the Kewanee LGBT Pride Festival?
I think it was more so, we need volunteers. It takes a lot of people to put on just any event. Even as small as, you know, one could be, it still takes, you know, a good number of people. Two, it's, you know, sponsorship. Kewanee being a small town, you know, everybody hits up at the same location. So, you know, it makes it hard.
What is the difference, or is it all together? Is a group Cubans, Latinos, Mexicans, Spanish, and Hispanic? Do you guys all speak the same language?
Yes, we all speak Spanish. They're just different dialects, obviously, but Latinos are from Latin American countries.
Okay.
Hispanic are countries that were conquered by the Hispaniolas or Hispanol people. So yes, we are different, but we all still kind of speak the same language. The only country that doesn't speak Spanish is Brazil, and they're in Latin.
Okay.
Yeah, they're technically Latinos, and Mexicans and Puerto Ricans are Hispanic.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Let me ask, so how much money does the city give the committee? I mean, do you give a pot and they decide how to spend it, or is it event by event? How does it work when they ask for money from the city?
The idea, initially we did put money up front for the commission for different events. The idea is that eventually they would be self-funded. They would,
Oh, okay.
and through their events, they would raise money through their events, through sponsorships, and be self-funded. So, but
I was gonna say, I can add to it when you're done.
why don't you come up here, Kate?
I'm Casey Mitchell. I am the city clerk and also the liaison for the commission. As far as city funds, the city allocates, I think the last couple of years it's been around $3,300. And during the meetings, the commissioners will ask that the city funds be used. Then they vote as a group to approve that. Then I take that to the city council, and that kind of goes in our warrant list, our bills, and council does approve those funds to be used for those accounts. So we try to keep the city funds for kind of new events or different sponsorships, like when we do the Hog Days Parade and things like that. So we try to keep that for new things. And then as they're working on the Hispanic Heritage Celebration or the Pride Festival, they're working on raising funds, and that money is used for specifically for those events. So they're starting to self-fund themselves, but the money that the city gives is kind of to kickstart those other projects or needs or things to help support the commission.
Do you have a website that lists all these different events?
We have our Facebook page.
A Facebook page?
It's the Kewanee Commission on Human Relations.
Okay.
Since we are part of the city, we are under their umbrella, so I'm not sure if there's like
There's a little blurb on the city page, yeah.
But you're on Facebook.
Yes, we are.
And then I just wanted to add one other little thing. So the commission decided when they first started that they knew that they needed to get their name out before we could start doing anything law enforcement supportive or counseling or anything like that. They wanted to establish themselves. So that's why a lot of the events are taking place. They decided they didn't want to just be an event group. They want to do some action items, some support for their communities, but they knew that they needed to get their name out there first. So I think we're starting to look for more things that we can do to get into the schools, like Lovondi mentioned, and talk with the driver's ed students about how to act and what to expect during interactions with law enforcement. Want to do more education things, more support things with law enforcement, and anything else that we can do to support the different communities. So I personally look forward to them doing more of that social aspect rather than just the events. Thank you.
Let me ask, has there been any, has the community overwhelmingly supported your events, but there might be a few detractors, or, you know what I mean? How's it been going the last few years?
As you
Have you
might,
felt good about the response from the community?
overall, I've felt good with the response that we've got from the community. You know, and as you would guess, you know, certain things, you know, there are people that just don't agree with it, you know, for whatever reason it may be. But for the most part, even when they have disagreed with what we're trying to accomplish in some of the events that we've sponsored and worked on, they've done so, for, like I said, for the most part, amicably. They haven't gotten, you know, really mean about it. You know, there was one point where somebody was sending out some letters that were kind of inflammatory, but it really didn't get much notice. It didn't, you know, get much headway, so it died quickly.
We do get quite a few. We actually get a lot of support, more than what we thought we would. We could use more, but that's we don't want to take too big of a bite, and we'll just go little by little.
Take a bigger bite.
So I didn't even know you existed, so this is nice that you came here and,
Oh, really?
yeah, I did. Yeah, look at the void.
Yeah, question.
So if somebody wanted to contribute money to you, who would they contribute money to?
You can send a check to the city of Kewanee.
Is that, who do you make it out to?
Commission on Human Relations.
You don't have to put City of Kewanee, just,
No.
okay. Because I think people knew that, like if I'm gonna give you some money here tonight, but if I do, like, I'm not telling you how you have to spend it or on one particular thing or another, and so I just wondered if you had a checking account someplace or something.
And we have had people that have donated money and said, you know, I want this to go towards this event.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
but I'm-
So if you, you know, if you did want to give money and you wanted to go specifically for a particular event, you know, you do have that option.
Do you have separate funds for each event?
We do.
Yeah.
We do. Like Casey said, we first started, you know, with the city funds. We got a little bit, and gradually, you know, $3,300 doesn't go,
It doesn't.
does not go far at all. You know, between Pride,
Just the city,
Does it? Okay.
yeah, between Pride and, you know, Hispanic Heritage, just Pride alone could use $3,300 like that. So each group has gone out and asked for sponsorships. We have sent letters, we have sent emails, and personally have talked to some of these businesses, asking them for donations.
And I can say for the most part, our Kewanee businesses have been very generous. You know, we have Kewanee is very supportive, you know, in a lot of different ways. So I'm proud of our community. I love Kewanee.
Do you have like teenagers on your commission or helping you or anything?
No, we don't have teenagers. I believe you have to be a
Oh, there's an
certain
age limit?
Well, to be
Well,
on
there
the
hasn't
city,
really been an established age limit, but
Yeah.
when we've had a couple younger, you know, members that were college age, and it just seemed like they didn't have enough time between schoolwork and such that it was really tough for them to actually become members. But definitely, you know, those type the younger people are good for like the subcommittees and getting involved
Okay.
with
Yes,
the
yes,
individual.
Yeah.
Because I gotta say, I would
Events.
think that would help you get more people involved if you had younger people. It's very hard to get volunteers
Yes.
right now for any organization. Any organization that I belong to, I waited until I retired, and everybody else was my age, and you've only got so long that you can be very active. You really need those 30 and 40-year-olds if you can. And I thought, well, if you had younger people, maybe you'd get them in the habit of.
Well, for our Hispanic Heritage, we have 2 teachers that are a part of our committee. So we
Oh,
have
good.
the Spanish teacher from Kewanee and the Spanish teacher from Wethersfield.
Oh, good.
So they, you know, round up some of their students, and the teacher from Wethersfield, she is also the sponsor for Key Club.
Yeah.
So she can gather, you know, students from Kewanee and Wethersfield to help. So we've had students from both schools helping us. Unfortunately, one year it was on Kewanee's homecoming, and then the other year was on Wethersfield's homecoming. So we've had, you know, students from Kewanee one year, then students from Wethersfield the other year.
One thing I will add is this committee is not politically motivated as far as Republican, Democratic.
Good,
It is for the people.
good.
It doesn't matter whether, you know, what's your affiliation, what side of the aisle you're coming from.
Good to hear.
Good.
It is for the people.
Good.
Another student group you might, oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say another student group you might potentially tap into that might be some different kids than Key Club, or even like Spanish, kids taking Spanish class is, there's a Straight and Gay Alliance Club at Kewanee High School specifically that might be supportive, and you know, a group that would be especially motivated to help with the Pride Festival. Just a thought. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but you know, sometimes there's kind of different groups at high school, different, not necessarily cliques, but like that might be some kids that weren't
They would have an
necessarily.
interest in that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it would help them feel accepted.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm thinking the motivation could be. But
For Pride, we did have Black Hawk students help us, so
oh, awesome.
some of them came from the Quad Cities too, so that was nice to have them.
Oh, I guess, my question was like, since politics are pretty dynamic, changing all the time, is this commission protected at all in our community? As our council changes, as our mayor changes, will there be any protection that this commission will remain and continue, as long as there's interest, of course, for people
Well,
to continue
it's-
doing it?
It's still within the city ordinances. I say it was still there from back in the 1970s when it, interest died out back then, and it just needed that one incident that occurred to, bring it back to the surface. And I can't sit here and say that there are absolute protections put in place, but my goal is, if we get this commission strong enough, it's gonna stand the test of time.
And that is our goal.
I just want to say thank you also, because
Oh,
I've been to
yes.
several of your events, and they have been so amazing.
Thank you.
I lived away from Kewanee for about 15 years, and when I came back, I kind of felt like I was in a cultural wasteland. My favorite thing at night was to open my windows and hear different people's music from different ethnicities and different people. We're always things going on in my neighborhood, and here it just felt very white.
Yes.
And so it was very nice to see the celebration of all the different people that live here.
Thank you.
And thank you for all the work you're doing.
Thank you. That's, one of the reasons why I joined, Growing up, being Mexican, there's nothing for.
Well, and just
for
hearing
Latinos.
your remarks, that falls in line with my goals of why I wanted to reinstate this commission. Because listen, I don't care if you want to be involved with, the Pride Fest or with the Hispanic events, but you don't have to hate them. There's way too much hate. And I can't fix the hate in the world, but I can help in my little corner. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's why I reinstated this commission. And we have, like I said, some phenomenal members, so.
Those meetings, the second Tuesdays of the month, are they also recorded?
They are not.
They are not?
No, but they are open to the public, so anybody can attend. They're held at the chambers there at City Hall, so it's open to anybody.
Do you have records of past meetings?
We do.
Take minutes. Oh, do.
Are they posted on the city website? Do all commissions post their minutes? If they have minutes.
Well, in one form, these are part of our council packets, but minutes from the other commissions, like our planning commission and zoning board, those are always in our packets.
Yeah, okay.
Because they,
Yeah.
we vote on those, so
You vote
they're in
on
the package, but the council doesn't generally vote on
Their minutes.
their minutes, so.
And honestly, I never thought about putting them online, but I'm happy to. I can start doing that
That'd be good.
on the website.
Maybe I missed it, but why are you not doing the Pride thing this year?
Sponsorship and lack of volunteers.
And our main chair for that had a lot going on personally within the last year and just almost wind out of the sails kind of thing. And with lack of volunteers, it was really hard to push through.
Yeah. Last year, it was basically 4 of us that did it.
Oh,
So it was a lot of work for us 4, and the lack of volunteers.
been there, done
is-
that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so you know how quick you can get burned out.
Yep.
Now, when you do events at Northeast Park, technically that park is under the Kewanee Park District, not under the city. Are you able to use the park for free rental, or do they consider it a donation?
We just go in and ask them if we could use the park.
And they haven't asked for a fee? Okay. I didn't know what their policy was. Well, I just didn't know, so I know how much budget money they get.
I spoke to Andy Dwyer, and they do consider that a donation.
Yes,
you know.
they have no intentions of charging, you
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
That Cinco de Mayo, that was so nice. I was waiting on some friends to come out there, and then I didn't see them, so I walked around, it was really nice, and I had to get some of those tacos, and I stood in line for 2 hours, but it was worth every minute of it. I got some other stuff, and you had this, it was corn, and I think my neighbor, she's Hispanic, so she said they put mayonnaise on it and everything. And boy, I tell you, it's like going to the promised land. It was really nice, and then around the corner from where I live, they have the Daily Fix, and some Hispanics have it, you know, and there was a food truck there. So, I went and got some tacos, and boy, I tell you, I just had fun with it. And I want to say with Lovondi Jordan Bailey, she was my neighbor years ago, and she went to school with my girls and all that, and she was always so quiet. So I'm so glad to see her. I'm so glad to see her. And Jennifer and Melissa, they love to have fun, and they go to their parties and get in trouble and everything, and Floyd telling stories. No, but it was a good thing, because Floyd talked with them when he was state trooper and everything, and they did listen. They just were good girls, and they didn't have any criminal background. So I don't have one yet. But it's still good to see you, Lovondi. Yeah.
But on that note, Anita, the
Yes.
Sundays in June, there will be somebody at the Daily Fix.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
it's
from
part of a
their
fundraiser.
I'm
for
glad
Cinco
you
de
told me
Mayo.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Sundays in June, you can pop up there. I think this week it's,
Some Eduardo something, but
yeah, they're gonna have
they sold the ice cream at the Cinco de Mayo.
something about making chips on site.
Yeah.
Fruit.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
gonna be another-
I walk a lot anyway, but it's just a hop, skip, and a
Yeah.
jump to where I live.
Yep, Sundays in June.
Okay, thank you. Sundays
And
in
then
June.
also keep, a lookout, because Hispanic Heritage Committee, we will have also another food event, fundraiser. So.
When will that be?
Here in the next, 2 weeks. But our event is in September. Again, Anita, there will be a lot of food trucks there.
And then they had also at the Cinco de Mayo that you could they give you a free ticket for the panada, what you hit. I was in line, I didn't dare want to get out of line, but I wanted a ticket so bad, because I was at a Hispanic party years ago when my girls were young, and it's a certain way you have to hit it. I can't hit it to make all the candy come out, so I'll have to get some advice from you.
Oh, of course.
It's a bigger club.
There's a baseball bat.
I do, but maybe it's already going to be addressed. The subcommittees, are their minutes also going to be available, or is it only the commission?
Only the commission.
Okay.
Oh.
And so the subcommittees, will we hear about their upcoming meetings in
Yes.
your
Yes.
umbrella meeting?
Well, our subcommittees post on our Facebook pages, like our like the Hispanic Heritage, we post when we are having meetings. But that's the only way we let the community know that we are having meetings.
We can get better at sharing those on the commission page as well.
The
I try to watch
subcommittees,
for them and put them up as well.
Yeah, thank you.
the subcommittees, when we have our monthly meetings, they inform the rest of the committee members what has transpired in their subcommittees. So in a way, it does come back out in the minutes, but not necessarily specific minutes from the subcommittee meetings. But they will discuss them in the regular agendas.
Yeah, it's like a quick summary rundown of things that we're working on or we're waiting on, things that have been paid, but it's nothing in depth like our, subcommittee meetings are.
Right. And you have, did I hear 4 or 5 different subcommittees?
Or do you have one for each event?
We have a subcommittee for each event.
Okay.
And it's chaired by 1 or 2 commissioners. So like for Cinco de Mayo, that's chaired by our commissioner, Adriana Landeros. Black History Month and Juneteenth
Etta and Lovondi now. Our
Yeah, Black History Month, we have our own committee, we have some.
Yeah, Black History.
The commission just, they provide.
Right, but,
the
yeah.
scholarship.
Yep.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, but I'm saying they're chaired by commissioners.
Yes. Well, no, they're not commission, I'm on the committee, I'm a commissioner, but the Black History Committee.
That's not. Yeah.
For the commission's part.
Yeah.
That was going
You're
on
on the
long
committee.
before.
Yeah, we were gonna do
Right, but part of for the commission.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
commission is.
For the essay, it's
Essay
commissioners that
content.
read the.
Yes.
Yes.
And then for Pride, it's August Wolf.
Okay.
And for the Hispanic Heritage, it's Jessica Fernander and myself.
So that's 4.
Yeah.
We take turns, sorry. We take turns, kind of doing all the other events, like, we also do Braveheart that wasn't mentioned. We go out and do a table at almost every resource fair that we hear about as well. So that way we get the word out there about what our group is actually doing, and trying to get more awareness out there about not just our events, but what the commission actually stands for. Braveheart,
I can speak
yeah,
about Braveheart.
Gary, I looked, well, he knew.
Is it still in Cambridge? Is it still in Cambridge?
Yes, it's still in Cambridge.
Okay,
It's in-
yeah, that's.
I don't think it's in that house anymore. They moved it into,
It's in, I don't know where it is, but.
It's in the old DCFS side of the building.
back behind Dollar General.
Dollar General, okay.
Yes, they used to have it in a house, but Braveheart is a very important tool for law enforcement. I used it, oh my gosh, I can't tell you how often I was at the Braveheart when I was a detective for the city of Kewanee. But it is designed to, they do interviews, forensic interviews with children that have been not just sexually abused, but any kind of abuse or involved in it, whether their parents were arrested. But it's designed to talk to children in a setting that is relaxed, so it's not intimidating for the children, and it's hopefully to put them at ease so they are able to talk in, more readily, so that they're not feeling, like they're being pressured.
It kind of looks like a living room.
It's set up, with a couch, and there's, they're all recorded, but the camera's in there, and it's, unless you know where the camera's at, chances are, unless you're really, really looking for it, you're not even gonna see the camera. So they wanted to be, as unintrusive as possible, as possible so that children stay relaxed. And the people that are able to do these forensic interviews with children, it's, you go through a lot of training. I am a forensic interviewer. I could do it. I never did the interviews for Henry County, but I was called to Knox County. I did interviews in Whiteside County for their advocacy centers that they have there. So it's a very powerful tool. It's phenomenal. So yeah, if you can ever get involved with Braveheart, it's very worthwhile. It's for the children. Gives them
They
a
were
voice.
mentioning upcoming events. Can you guys share with us what other things the commission is planning for the future?
Well, we have the National Night Out in August. We have,
What is that? National Night Out? Can you explain it a little bit?
yes, I will do my best.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is put on, it's a nationwide event. It's held in August, right before I think school begins. And it's to basically, bring the law enforcement and children and families together to kind of have, a fun time together before school begins. It's free to the public.
Okay.
And I just saw recently that the police officers are asking for donations to help with
Juice box,
yeah,
and it's
juice
August 5th,
boxes. Okay, so it's August 5th. So
4:30 to 7:30 p.m. at Northeast.
National Night Out is what it's called.
Yep, it's done all over the country.
And where is it?
It'll be
It'll be in Northeast.
Fire department will be there. Maverick, the K-9 will be there. Other resources, the commission,
Fire department.
other years past, they've done like tattoos. Henry County Sheriff's Department was there last year.
Temporary tattoos.
Yes, temporary.
Yes. And it's just basically a time for families of all backgrounds to come and just meet local law enforcement and fire department so that they can feel comfortable with them.
A pleasant
Should they ever-
experience.
Yes, should they ever have to meet them when things aren't going so well, maybe they'll see a familiar face.
Yeah, they'll have, different games, food. So again, if you guys get the chance, it's pretty fun time.
There's also usually lots of area social service agencies that will
Yes.
come to, like, when the police department shoots out the notice to everybody to say, hey, we're having our national night out on X day. You'll probably have tables from places like Braveheart,
Yes.
or like Freedom House Provisions have a table,
Yes.
the library gets asked to have a table. So that families can see kind of what some of the other resources are in the community or the area that they might find beneficial. Or want to get involved in maybe too.
Yeah, I wanted to make some clarification. Yes, the Community Black History Committee, we have that. We've been having that in place for years. But remember, a few years ago, Torian, he wanted to implement the essay contest. And so then the commission agreed to fund that. So the students, we have 2 that receive $100 and then 2 that receive $50. So there's like 4 winners on the essay contest. And the commission funds that, and then they also help judge the essay. So we get a group that they volunteer to judge essays. So the commission, like I said, Torian wanted to get that reinstated and everyone agreed. So that's what the commission does, the essay contest, and we appreciate them helping with that. And then I have another committee, Anita on that other committee. On the Community Black History Committee, we have a group of people that actually organize the event every year. So we work together. So just wanted to clarify.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions before we wind up here?
I guess we'll end the evening. I think it was a very informative program.
Thank you again for having us. A lot of very good questions and some good ideas that we can implement moving forward. So thank you.